Good morning, everybody. Good morning, one. Good morning, all. Good morning, and an especially warm welcome back to our frequent flyers. It's lovely to see you all. May I just be one of the first to say welcome to the Global Entrepreneurship Congress 2025. Yes, we're here. We're here. Would you raise your hand and say yes if this is your first GEC? Say yes. Fantastic. Welcome to the family. This is amazing. And hands up and say yes if this is not your first rodeo. Yes. Welcome back. Yes, thank you to many of the OGs. This is the second of these sessions, but a bit like The Godfather, I think the second could be even better than the first. So thank you for choosing this. Fingers crossed you've chosen wisely. I'm confident you have, because you get to meet each other. We're deliberately not having a plenary to open our first day at GEC. We're having workshops, so you get to meet each other. Okay, so by way of introduction, my name is Ollie Barrett. It's an honor to be a very long-standing friend of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. I was involved in the first Global Entrepreneurship Week, and I helped create the signature activity for that week, which was Speed Network the Globe. So in 52 countries, school children having 3-minute meetings with business people all around the world. So I couldn't be a bigger fan of Jen and this extraordinary global family. So thank you for being part of it, and thank you for choosing this session this morning. What I've tried to do with the team is create, yes, a workshop, but also, with your permission, a bit of a mixer, a bit of a chance to meet each other, if you'd be keen for that as well. So that is the aim. So with that in mind, our bold theme for this session is creating campaigns that inspire new entrepreneurs. That's the theme of the workshop, okay? So hopefully that's what you're expecting, campaigns that inspire new entrepreneurs, okay? But actually, there is so much collective intelligence in this room. We actually just want you meeting each other as soon as possible. So in about 20 seconds, I'm going to ask you to stand up. But here's the question. What is one of your personal boldest ambitions? Okay, maybe something you haven't shared very often, but something you absolutely dream of doing. So that's going to be one of my first questions to you this morning. So let's be upstanding. Let's talk to someone you haven't yet met, so not your colleague, not the person you came in and just had coffee with. Let's all stand up and dare to share one of our boldest ambitions, personal ambitions, with someone that we've almost never met before. And let's fill the room with bold ambitions. See how we go. All right, everybody. Here we go. Here we go. I'm interrupting, aren't I? Here we go. I'd like to know. Here's the question. Here's the question, team. Who's just heard something that they thought to themselves as you heard it? Wow. that's bold, or wow, that's wild. Okay, who would be prepared to share? We'll whiz around a little bit. You don't have to say it was them that said it, but we just want to know what you heard. Would you be prepared to share? Yeah, go on.
So you'll have to excuse me, but can you remind me what the name is again so I don't mess it up?
Yeah, I'm from Suriname, South America.
What's your name?
This is Seema. And I'm Marianella, and she was just explaining to me, we didn't get to finish everything, but she was explaining to me one of her professional ambitions is that they want to create, she owns an immigration company, and you guys are expanding and trying to help everybody out. And also, we wouldn't finish what you were saying, but.
So we discovered a lot of oil in our offshore. And in 2028, we're going to start the first production. And there are a lot of foreign companies are coming in. So that's where they hire our company to assist them with, with the onboarding of their expats.
Wow. We didn't get to the rest.
Well, I wonder what was about to happen next. I think journalists call that burying the lead. Yeah, we've got this immigration business. Oh, and we've discovered oil. Don't worry. Oh, it's all good. All right. Now, who else would share something they heard? They thought, wow, that was bold. Who will share an ambition? And it could be one you shared. Put it out to the room. The magic lamp will work its magic. Yes. Here we go. And we'll get a microphone over to you. Thank you, Vincent. Here we are.
Testing. All right, so I met Violeta from Ecuador, and I was not only inspired by her, but I'm anxious to share that she is looking to help women entrepreneurs in her country escape a pattern of violence through entrepreneurship. They are getting the tools and things that they need to create their own businesses, right, for their families and children, but she wants to go global with it and not just work in her immediate area. Did I get that right?
More country, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, Violeta, where are you based at the moment?
In Manta, Ecuador.
In Ecuador?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
in Ecuador.
Thank you very much.
I have to say that our dreams match because we both want to make the world better through different tools with different patterns, but the world better for people.
Here's to that. Thank you both very much indeed. Thank you. Let's do one more, and yeah, let's go over to the side here. I see a couple of offers there. See you, Jerry. We'll do a couple more, and then we've got to crack on. Please.
One that I shared was working with youth in Congo, and we're creating a coffee brand that we're going to first sell in France because it's harder to bring to the U.S. But really encouraging entrepreneurship in our youth.
Love that. Excellent. So a double shot of inspiration here from Congo to France. So well, bon chance with that. Thank you very much. Jerry, did you have one for us over here?
Thanks, Ollie. So this is Constantine, and he's got probably the boldest of ambitions because his plan is to go out into orbit by 2027. Six. It's got the timeline's got better. So we've got a phenomenal opportunity. So good luck to that. Thank you.
Well, to infinity and beyond, Constantine. Right. Hands up. We offer you a free trip into space tomorrow. All expenses paid. Who would say yes to that? Hands up. Who would say yes to that? Who would say hell no to that? Okay. So I think the yeses vaguely outnumber the no's. All right. Right. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Right. So that is the first of our three engines. We've got three engines today that we're firing up. Right. It's time for engine number 2. Would you like to know what engine number 2 is? Engine number 2 is our insight engine. Spoiler alert. Engine number 3 is our creativity engine. So where we're going to get to is cooking up some bold ideas for campaigns that inspire entrepreneurs. Either ones that we've already done and loved, or ones that we would love to do. Okay? But before creativity comes insight. So here are the questions. What have you learned? What worked in inspiring entrepreneurship? What didn't work? And what surprised you? What's a surprising insight you wouldn't have known? And I'm going to share one I shared earlier this morning. It was that when I started with the help of an amazing national campaign, what's today still the UK's largest schools entrepreneurship challenge. In our first year, we gave 10,000 kids a £10 note. The unusual insight for me at the time was that it wasn't so important how much money the children made. They had a month to see what they could do. It was more important how the program changed how they felt about themselves. That was the standout insight. I wish I'd known it going into the program. It's my biggest or surprising insight. It might not surprise you, but it definitely surprised me. What insight would you... So I'm asking you now to distill everything you've learned about inspiring new entrepreneurs. If you had to put that insight onto a post-it, what would it be? And I'm going to encourage you to do this. And I've put here in 4s, but actually there's so much good energy in the space. If you'd prefer just to work in a pair or in a 3, that's totally fine. If you think that gives you a better energy, feel free to do that in 2s, 3s, 4s, whatever. So you're going to have about 10 minutes to do this, and then we'll share some of those insights. But let's really try and distill it. Really try and distill. Here's the thing. Special points for non-obvious insights. Here's the thing. And by the way, before you do this, I want to step back and set the context, because I've given a story about children and young people. This is much broader than that. So I just want to help set the much wider context for why we are running this session, right? So, as I say, biggest fan of GEN here in me. Very happy to have worked with our guest and my co-host for this session, but someone I want to introduce to you. He needs little introduction. He's a co-founder of the network itself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Marich is here. Mark, morning.
Thank you, Ali. Always a pleasure. Ali and I have known each other for about 18 years now. As he said, he was there at the very beginning when my team and I launched Global Entrepreneurship Week. Back then, it was a youth campaign. We were trying to figure out, how do we make more young people aware of their potential as entrepreneurs? How do we introduce them to this lifestyle that all of us are engaged in? Since that time, and a joke that I like to tell and retell, so since we're Washington, D.C. based, we're kind of like Revenge of the Nerds for entrepreneurship, right? So you got a lot of people that are out there doing a lot of cool and fun things with accelerators and direct with entrepreneurs. You know, we're focused on a lot of other things. What's the right policy environment that it takes for entrepreneurship to flourish? Early stage investing, cross-border investing, research. What research has to be done to underpin these discussions and programs and policies that are there to support entrepreneurs? So we started off as a youth campaign. We quickly kind of matured and evolved into what we are and what you see today. So as Ali mentioned, you know, youth is still at our roots, you know, inspiring and activating the next generation of entrepreneurs. But all of us are engaged in reaching new audiences. People, doesn't matter what their age is, doesn't matter if they're young or if they're old. If they have potential in front of them in terms of being an entrepreneur, we want to design campaigns that reach them. And so at GEN, we've been running Global Entrepreneurship Week for about 18 years now. We're really excited about hearing what you all have to say and contribute to this session. We're going to take what we learned from all of you, and we're going to infuse that into GEW and what we do. But we want you to take everything that you're learning from each other, take it back home with you. So with that, I'll just say thanks. I appreciate your being here. Ali Barrett.
Thank you, Mark. So that's our challenge. Engine number 2. Insights. Let's fill the room with insights. Be as pithy, be as provocative as you like. Just to assure you, the conversations that we have on our tables, let's run those under the Chatham House rule. Just to remind us, we don't need it, but that means we don't share what happens outside this workshop without permission. So we don't attribute something that's said without permission. Anything from now that's spoken into the mics is on the record, and we'll capture that, okay? Just so you can filter, especially if you're sharing stories about what didn't work. I think it's good to know these things. All right, let's share in your 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your best insights. What worked, what didn't work? What do you wish you'd known? What would your advice be? Let's go, thank you. Okay, everybody. Let's pause briefly. Thank you. Now, I know you've been in, some of you, larger table groups, some of you in 2s, 3s, 4s. Can I draw your attention to these final 2 questions? What surprised you the most about what inspires entrepreneurs, and what insight would you give to someone starting a new campaign? So what we'll do is we'll get cross-pollinating and mixing you up into pairs again in our next chapter. But who will get us going with some insights? And we're listening in. And in fact, before you do that, can I have 2 volunteers who don't have horrendous handwriting? Would you put your hand up? You know where this is going, don't you? That's very kind, Jerry Allen. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Jerry. Jerry, in fact, you can make your way to a board near you. There you go. Chairman of the board. There you go, Jerry. And another volunteer. Let's go. Here we go. Someone, come on. You know what, Jonathan Ortmans, I can't put you in the spot. Should we test out the president of Gen's handwriting? No. Come on. Who else will? Yeah, go on, Mark. Go on, Mark Ortmans is in the house. This is great. Go on. Who's got better handwriting, Mark? You or Jonathan? We'll see. All right. By the way, you know that spectacular Gen logo, the wonderful compass logo, created by Mr. Mark Ortmans himself. Round of applause. Absolutely iconic. Absolutely iconic. And probably in its biggest version yet in the compass room. Right. So stand by. Pithy insights. What surprised you? Jonathan, I hope you're a keynote listener for this bit. Is that okay?
I'm a keynote listener.
Well, yeah, but I want your feedback as well. But do you want to provoke us before we feed back our insights?
No.
Okay, so but that means we've captured you for another few minutes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, I don't want you... Okay, cool. All right.
No, I will add an insight just to stress what you're saying is so important, because our entire organization was built on how do we get more people involved in entrepreneurship who are not already evangelists. So how do you reach your neighbor? How do you reach the other citizen on the street that's not as excited as you are? So I just want to say thank you for this. We're trying to work out how to get everyone in the world to kick the tires of what we all do. So let's go.
So how do we make it inviting, inclusive, not off-putting? Insight. Who will share an insight they shared or they heard on their table? Hands up. You don't have to say who you are, but you can. Let's start over. Yeah, 2 on that table there. That's kind. Thank you. Thank you, Celia. Here we go. We've got a pair. And we'll come on to that table next. Let's start in this corner with Celia. There we go. Yeah. Fabulous. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, morning. My name is Mwansa, and I've been with wonderful group here. The very most insight and surprising thing that I don't know if it's surprising, but how to marry the two, where there is entrepreneurship, where you have everything in front of you. Do you have to do that coaching, everything, do this to launch a 6-figure, or do you have to go by what your talent is, what your instinct is? And then we all agree is, how do we marry the two? What's in front of us? And as entrepreneurs, we all want to just first make money. But do we go for the learning process first and find what works and then find our market, or do we just jump in the water? I think we all have that problem, so it's a confusing here there.
Wrestling with that combination. Okay, I understand. Okay, and then next door as well.
The access and mentorship were 2 other topics that seem to be fairly thematic with what has inspired or worked in some of our areas. If you don't know what entrepreneurship is, you don't have exposure or haven't been exposed in your life, how do you know if you want to start a business or not? So there's that side of the spectrum. And then I do want to start a business. Where do I go? Where do I do these things? Is the market worthwhile or not? If you don't have those answers, then you need someone to help guide you in some cases. So being able to have access and mentorship, together or separately even, are 2 things that work.
And for someone listening to that and leaning into that access word and saying, well, what does that look like in practice? What's an insight? What would you go on to share?
Yeah, I think all of us are in different scenarios. If it's a physical brick and mortar space where you have working people out of, going in and out for entrepreneurship and economic development center or whatnot, versus a university campus versus a community center, in the home, even for some of you that may be entrepreneurial and have kids that are starting to think about that. But I think the biggest aspect also is opportunities to tinker, whether it's info sessions, whether it's workshops of, hey, here's a problem, can we find some creative solutions, a pitch competition. Sometimes those bring out those juices.
Fab, love that. So will you raise your hand if you've had an experience with creating a physical space where people thinking of entrepreneurship can wander in? Hands up, hands up, hands up, physical space. And who would be prepared to share the biggest thing they learned in terms of insight? We'll come over to you. Welcome. This is back on the access point. Thank you.
All right, good morning. My name is Carl Brown. I'm with the Startup Zoo in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We host a residency program. We also have a physical space where entrepreneurs can wander in any day of the week. And the thing that we find most is entrepreneurs need increased access to focus. And part of what came up in the discussion in our group is that there are two programs at our table, one in Maine and one in Spain. I couldn't have planned that on purpose, but one in Maine and one in Spain that both focus on providing a small annual salary to allow people to try entrepreneurship. And the program in Spain looks at it as a cross-reference to unemployment insurance. It's saying that paying for people's unemployment is worse than paying for people to try entrepreneurship, but it's the same cost. And that is a really, really interesting insight from our conversation. In the day-to-day, seeing entrepreneurs walk into our space, the number one challenge is they're going, I got to feed my family, I want to try this thing, I don't know how to do both.
Powerful. Thank you. Brilliant insight. There's so much we could build on there. Let's get another insight, something surprising, something you would pass on. Who will put another one into the room? Let's have lots more. Yes, let's come down here. And then we're looking around for our next table. Go.
Hello, I'm Stacy Stu from the Maryland Institute College of Art. And I would say exhibition to enterprise. So think about a concept of 3 words that are easy to understand but are leading to an exhibition, an engagement that brings the community together. Something we did in Baltimore was a Baltimore Fashion Renaissance. We brought the community together, conversation, and then the veterans of industry, the entrepreneurs that came together in conversation, and then different entrepreneurial ideas came out. But in our group, the other point was, monetization wasn't a big piece. It was leading ideation with impact, and so drawing them in with that future solution with 3 words that represent the solution, or the solution they're going to bring to the table.
Love that. So riffing on that theme, exhibition to enterprise, has anyone created what turned out to be an attractive, magnetic even, draw for the would-be entrepreneur? Who has done that in practice, and what did you learn? Let's go over to the back here. What did you learn about how you create? I'm having fond memories of Startup Britain that we launched with Number 10, where we took a double-decker bus to 65 locations. Unfortunately, when we took it to Downing Street, we hit the gateway on the way out. But don't worry, we weren't insured. Carry on.
My situation was not that, but my name is John Lotz. I'm an ecosystem navigator and manager of our Sycamore Innovation Lab at Indiana State University. It was a multi-stage process to really build entrepreneurship on our campus, and it's kind of gone gangbusters over the last 2 years. But it really started out, we were talking about this at our table, starts out about making it accessible. The word itself, entrepreneurship, I think intimidates a lot of people. And then when you think about everything that goes into it, it's even more intimidating, and then people are like, oh my God, no. So by making it more accessible, what we started out doing is I started out going into different realms of our other colleges, various programs, everything from healthcare to the fine arts. And just talking about entrepreneurship in the sense of, the attributes that entrepreneurs need to be successful, right? And how you can apply that in your personal life, in your professional life, whatever it might be. Making it more accessible, more tangible to everybody, regardless of where they're coming from. But then the other part of that is, okay, next level, you have to meet them where they're at. So when I then go back to the performing arts people or the fine arts people, it is a very different message than when I'm talking to our OTs or PTs or our, aspiring healthcare professionals and who are also interested in entrepreneurship. You have to tailor it. You have to meet them where they're at, but then help them to understand what it's going to take to be successful in that specific realm. Yeah. And so by doing that, we've gained a lot more traction, and our entrepreneurship programs have blown up over the last 18 months.
First class. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Excellent round of applause. Great share. So who would be bold to share on mic, I know, but what didn't work? Something like, well, we thought this would be great, but frankly, it just didn't pop, and that was an insight in itself. Who has a lesson learned the hard way on that? amongst trusted friends. And on the record, he says, who was that an offer that I've sold lots at auction for less than that? Oh, I think it was. Let's, we'll go over to this table if you don't mind. Yeah, well, both of you. Fantastic. Thank you.
My name is Todd Luger from here in Indianapolis, and I'm fairly new to the entrepreneur startup world, but I was in investment banking a number of times, selling businesses and watching small and medium-sized businesses grow and why they don't grow. One of the things we talked about here at the table is identifying whether somebody wants to be an entrepreneur or do they want to solve a problem. And there's a difference. We see a lot of people who want to be an entrepreneur, they want to make money, they want to be their own boss, and they're just a me too, in the marketplace. And that's very difficult. I work for a venture capital studio that identifies both, the risks and the rewards of market, product, and this type of thing. If it's a me too, it's harder. So really trying to encourage and getting people to think critically, question the premise, intellectual curiosity. These are the types of attributes that I'd love to see instilled upon younger people as we go forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Todd. Thank you very much. Let's just go, if the offer still stands, just two away if you'd like. Would you like to share?
I was just going to piggyback off of that. To Mr. Luger's space, yes, I think I agree with all that he said. Thank you.
Well, why not? All right, let's get another perspective just over on this far side. I can come to you, don't worry, Vincent. Here we go. Welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Kola from Nigeria. I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, what exactly didn't work for me is the area of partnership. The area of partnership which really fell flat, because when we're starting, my company, we started as 3 people, right, with a vision, right, but along the line within 2 years, because I now realize that people are after money, because an entrepreneur is a solution provider, and he has the passion of the dream. So I come up with a dream. We brought 2 people together, and then we work together, but unfortunately, it's like the vision is so separate. So along the line, the whole thing fell flat. So that's one of the major things that happened. Thank you.
And may I ask, who or what do you think inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Thank you so much. For me, I think what really inspired me for me to be a solution provider, basically, because I look at the industry that I came into. Then I think I was working with a company then that into international trade, right? Then within the industry, there are other subsector that has to do with global forwarding. Some of the guys that were there, they were non-graduate, and they were being treated like something else. And I said, oh, come on, this is a money-spinning business. If these guys can put themselves together and then be able to package themselves and able to speak very well, then they will be able to win other people. That really, really inspired me.
Yeah, so polishing that,
absolutely,
but solving the problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now then, back to Jonathan Ortman's challenge on words. How we communicate this in a way that does feel more accessible, does feel more exclusive, how we don't put people off. That's my challenge to us now. What would you share on the words that work, to coin a phrase Jonathan used earlier? What words have you found in your own work draw people in rather than turning them off, particularly in inspiring new entrepreneurs at offer here? And I'm looking around for the words that work, and we'll come over to you. Yes, please, sir.
Hello, my name is Chigunede Gwatu. You can call me Toby for short. I'm from the UK, from wizdiary.com, email marketing platform. And I started this business with my 2 sons when they were little. And last year when we were in the States, we've tried to scale WizDiary into different platforms. Tried to scale it with billboards, tried to scale it Post a Job. But we're scaling it now with email marketing, right? It's pretty much it's email marketing on a social media environment. So we're doing it on social emailing. That's what we call it. And what actually worked, my developers are in Pakistan. I've never seen them before. I talked to them through virtual, on a regular basis, and my marketing department is also in Pakistan, right? So I speak to them and talk to them on a regular basis. What's actually worked, because I don't see them face to face, I've been able to encourage them and been able to get them to the next level. And what actually drive me towards doing it on to this level and being able to be consistent is my two sons, right? Because they've actually encouraged me and they've actually brought up ideas. And recently I found out that with them concentrating on their school a lot more, entrepreneurship has been quite lonely because I wear a lot of hats. So it's been quite lonely. And so what I did was look for a co-founder, right? So I am looking for someone that is actually will pair and will rub ideas and will be able to share ideas and get to the next stage.
Are you looking for them now?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, there you go. So there you go. Co-founders apply here. All right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for that. We'll come and find you. QR code on the chest. Love it. All right. So let's focus the question even more then. Words that work when you're trying to draw the future entrepreneur. So this is pre-founding language here. We'll come over there, and if that was an offer on that question, I will come to you. And I did promise it over to you, so we'll come round. So words that work. And Jerry, even though you're scribing brilliantly, I'd love your take on this as well. What works, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Sierra Whitaker, and I'm from Chicago, work with South Shore Chamber of Commerce. And what really worked for us is success stories of entrepreneurs. And that's how we use those to do storytelling, to do campaigns, to draw in new entrepreneurship. Also, we do things like reverse engineer of the business itself. So when you come to us, we put you on different tracks. We know if you want to open a store, if you want to just stay small, home-based business online. When we do that reverse engineer, we take all of your data, we say the business plan, the numbers, and we say, is it realistic? Do you know your market? Would it survive? And those things typically work for us.
Even more on that, thank you, on storytelling. Is there a place that you've told a story that resonated particularly well? Because there are many canvases in the world. Where worked best?
I think for most entrepreneurships, my story that I always tell, I've been in this space for 15 years, is that I've been able, through my years of working with entrepreneurship, secured over our organization of $5 million in grants, loans, just by adding our technical support and resources that we do at the Chamber. So that money catches every entrepreneur.
So those incentives, but I do want to go back to the question, because you could tell a story on a billboard, on a TikTok, in an email. I just wonder if there's an edge that you could share with us that really connected with the future entrepreneur. Was there a place? Forgive me for putting you on the spot, but I'm intrigued to know.
So for us, we do a lot of in-person events. I think this year our organization has scaled up to seeing new entrepreneurships that we've never seen. Yeah. And we do this thing called this series, a grow-up series. That's what we call it. Yeah. And so in that series, we market it on all of our social media platforms. And we've had 60 to 70 entrepreneurs show up for one workshop, and it's a continuation. So in-person for us work well, but we use social media to get the message out.
Love that. Thank you. Say, will you raise your hand if you have put, I'm coming over to you, if you've put together an event that has been very successful in attracting potential founders? Hands up if you've done that. If you've done that, fantastic. Well, this is even better reason as well, finally, to come to you. Thanks for your patience.
Hi, thank you. I'm Katie from the Rebel School in the UK. And your first question was around the language. Now, I have a problem with the word entrepreneur. I can't spell it, and I have difficulty saying it, to be quite honest. And I think it excludes people. I think they don't identify, especially when we see the ultra entrepreneurs, sometimes without mentioning names, it may not be always the most inspiring thing for us. So everyday community businesses that maybe stay in the community or indeed can scale in the future don't see themselves as entrepreneurs. They see themselves as people who want to create their own jobs, create their own words, so, their own lives, if you like. So we use that language, that you are in charge of your life. You have agency in the world. You are not managed by government. You can actually achieve. So the word entrepreneur, I think, actually stops people.
Yeah, got it. No, really helpful insight. Thank you. And on the magnetic, I sense the Rebel School itself might be a magnetic space for sure. What's been a secret to its magnetism?
So we run in-person events. We do online events as well. We do in-person in the room. And the gentleman from the university said, meet people where they are. So we go into communities and run it in empty shop units. We go into community centres. We go into worship spaces. And we meet people in the community who normally wouldn't identify as entrepreneurs. They're people wanting to feed their families, to change things, to get out of maybe the job that they don't want. So yeah, meeting them where they are and in person and creating community.
Fantastic. Any other experience in the room, not for sharing, but just for a hand up, of opening new physical spaces for entrepreneurial retailers? Any other experience in the room on that? Have we done? Yeah, lots of experience on that. Thank you. Thank you. I promised to go over to Jerry over here. So Vincent, if you come over in the middle here. Any other offers on insights before we wrap this? Let's just quickly come down here and then we'll go to Jerry on the board. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tarsha Hearns from Dallas, Texas. I am with Economic Growth Strategies, a consulting firm that consults ecosystem builders, economic developers, and innovation centers. So the language that attracted individuals, potential new small business owners is control of your own destiny. Another, some language that we've used is building your own legacy, because that's kind of like what you're doing with your sons. But a new event in the U.S., there's a lot of people getting laid off from nonprofits that provide support to small businesses. And so many of my fellow ecosystem builders are finding themselves in transition. So I started a new event called Ecosystem Builders in Transition to consider becoming entrepreneurs themselves. Yes.
Love that. Thank you very much. Round of applause for that. Excellent insight. That rhymes with some of the words that came out of our first session this morning, especially on impact. For sure, on autonomy was a word that came through very clearly, but especially on this idea of freedom was the word that came out on several tables in our first workshop this morning, the idea of not being trapped, being in charge of your own destiny. Jerry, words that work.
Jerry on the board sounds like a quiz show host, doesn't it?
JOTB.
Can I words that are perhaps not working? Can I just spin that? Yeah. Let's drop the grenade of failure and the concept of failure and accepting failure and perhaps being more articulate about putting that out into the ecosystem so that it's not all roses, that we are failures. I'm a failure. I've failed in some of my businesses. I'm quite happy to admit it. But some of my colleagues will be quite scared by that word failure. I think we need to grasp that by the horns to start to say, well, you're looking at a failure, but through my failure, I can help you get there quicker.
So has anyone learned, to build on Jerry's insight, a way to talk about failure in a way that ends up attracting and not off-putting? Because there must be a line. So some offers here. Thank you, Vincent, and I'll take that offer at the back. But just there are a couple of strong offers to that question there on just picking up on Jerry's thread there on failure. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chris Kane. I'm with Startup Zoo. I'm in college, and failure is a huge negative word for young people. For me, when I hear failure, the quicker I fail, the quicker I'll be to the point where I'm trying to go. So when I have that mentality shift, it's like, all right, I failed. Go to the next thing. Try it again. The faster I fail, the faster I will success. And that's how myself and other young kids think about failure.
So help us pick our way through this. I don't want to get too bogged down on it, but for a campaign keen to inspire new entrepreneurs, what do we as a team feel about actively using that word failure in how we communicate? Have we got feelings on this? Come on.
Good morning. I'm Carol Miner. I'm from Tampa, Florida, where it was warmer than it is right here. And we have a program that we call Fail Forward. And it is a panel of business owners that have been successful, but they failed first.
Yeah. Love that. Fail Forward. Thank you. That's the second time I've heard that program mentioned. This is excellent. Thank you. Let's go over to John here, if that's all right, and then we'll take an offer over here.
Hello, everybody. So I'm a late entry entrepreneur at 62, so I feel a bit out of my comfort zone here. But I'm reading a book at the moment called The Right Kind of Wrong by a lady called Amy Edmondson. I listen to a lot on Audible. I want to learn from everybody else. But what she talks about is intelligent failure. And I think that's a really interesting spin on the word failure, because this is about failing where the risk levels are known in advance. So you've got some idea of the map so that you can keep on failing, learning from those failures, and it's not a problem, right? And she also talks about the difference between error and failure as well, and there are differences. So I think just like to share that with everybody.
Thank you, John. And let's come down here. By the way, as a slight country fan myself, The Right Kind of Wrong sounds like a big hit as well, I've got to tell you. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hi, Jessica Burkhart. So when I talk, I teach at a university. When I talk to the students, and I also talk to entrepreneurs that we have like a small business development center within our university, I talk about entrepreneurship as a marathon. And I say that I don't use failure, I say hurdles. I said, these are just hurdles. You might fall, but you need to pick yourself up and jump over the hurdle again. Learn how to jump over it. So that's what I call it.
No, here's to marathon runners all over the world. Let's take one more thought here. Forgive me. We'll weave others in as we go. We're going to boot up our third engine shortly. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Starla Smith from Institute of Law and Economics in Jamaica. And what we do with a lot of our youth entrepreneurs is that we always say, you fail to win. But we bring it to them before they have the thought to say, oh my God, I don't want to fail. We actually show them real life entrepreneurs that have failed so many times and are successful. KFC is one of those companies that we use. We use all the time, and we say this is someone who throughout their life they have tried X, Y, Z, and then at the end, look at all over the world now, you know KFC, and KFC wouldn't exist if he didn't fail all of those different things.
That's all right. I can sense a hashtag finger licking failure. Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm just experimenting really with idea. No. All right. Cancelled. And we'll take one insight over there. Maybe. What did I say about everything on the mic? Maybe not everything on the mic.
Hi. I also teach at the university, and I believe that there's a huge value in experimentation. And when you are experimenting, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So, but I wanted to do something outside of the class. And I was researching, and I got into this brand that operates in around 200 countries, 200 cities in the world, called the Fuck Up Nights. I don't know if you heard about it.
Oh, that's the first
and
bomb of the morning.
someone comes and tells you a failure, and you learn from someone else's failure. And failing, it's normal, and it's usually a faster path into success. So if I already fucked up, you can learn from my failure and do your own fuck up later in another way. But
that's just
I'm an entrepreneur. I've lost a lot of money
for the morning. But we get it. We like it.
And it's a very interesting way of learning.
I agree. And by the way, on this table next to you, by the way, in our first session, we had a guest from New Zealand who had presided over, I think, what he called the Dead Companies Society, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it? Is that right? Yeah, fabulous. So all right. Thank you very much indeed for that. Now, we're going to change gear with 29 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. We're going to fire up our creative engines now. So if you could all be upstanding, because this is really important as our next gear, if you like. And here's the. I'm going to show you a formula on the screen, but not yet. So hold your fire. Again, this is going to be in small groups. So do not feel the need to go into a full table conversation here. We've connected. We've shared insights. Now comes the creative piece. Now, many people have said before that creativity is about connecting dots, right? So our creative engine is going to work in the following formula. Okay, if we can move on to the creative engine, I'm going to come back to those. We've shared those. Here we are. This is the formula. A plus B doing C, where A, I'm no mathematician, but here we go. A is a person or an organization, plus B, which is another person or organizational community doing a thing to inspire new entrepreneurs. So that's the ABC formula. So for example, Speed Network the Globe, in the very first Global Entrepreneurship Week, was school children, school pupils, working with local businesses to have 3-minute speed networking conversations. So that was our ABC. 52 countries later, that became a signature activity. So A plus B doing C. Now, when you come up with your A and B, you might want to name the organization. It might be MTV, it might be PBS. It could just be a type of organization. You might be harking back to something you know has been an absolute success. Here's a formula that works. I'm going to encourage us to push and be bold and take risks with ideas. What about a formula that you dream of? Why don't we take a pinch of A, working with a pinch of B to create C? Okay, so I'm going to push us to be creative. Don't feel the need to dwell on just one ABC. You can go through, cycle through several. Okay, and don't feel the need actually to prepare a 2-minute pitch. Actually, even just a 20-second, here's my ABC will work for this particular round. Obviously, later we'd love to work these up even further. But does anyone have any questions about the ABC formula? I'm going to encourage you to do it in pairs, in 2s, 3s. You got it? Alles klar? Very cool. Okay, so let's take about 15 minutes. And then we'll get at least a dozen ABCs from the room. Let's go. A plus B doing C. And let's push our creativity, see what we can concoct. think so. Yeah, so on this corner, you say to Mont, and he'll let you back in. Yeah. Okay, everybody, forgive me interrupting. Okay. I'm very aware that it's all one Gen family, but I do like a little bit of inter-table competition as we go. So I'm wondering who's got an ABC that will triumph and win the hearts and minds of our peers. I mean, it's just a question. So on a serious note, thank you for leaning into this. Again, you're drawing on what's worked, but we're also imagining what could work, what could be as well, to inspire new entrepreneurs. Let's do it fairly rapid fire. We'll get, and I will ask you for your thoughts in that ABC formula, if you like. Who will be bold and share first? We'll come over to see you there. Thank you, and then we'll whiz around the room. Yeah, welcome. Please feel free to be upstanding or not, as you choose.
Okay. 2 minutes, right?
Oh, well, no, I'm going to go even... No. So 2 minutes. I've misled you there, haven't I? I'm after the 20-second sizzle version.
20 seconds. All right. That's tricky. Okay, my name is Carla Muniz. Do you know when I moved to Maine 3 years ago, I had a lack of self-confidence, lack of a language barrier. I lost my purpose because what I've been doing, I've been empowering people in Peru and Latin America to thrive into entrepreneurship. I've lost it when I moved to Maine. So, like me, people like want to do something for the community. There's like 20,000 people like me in Maine that wanted to do like part of the community, feel like they belong. So we have found like our A is these people like me, immigrant people that would like to be part, that like to be entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that have lack of self-confidence, have language barriers, and in order to move into entrepreneurship and innovation, they need to solve other things like, housing, and they need to like solve problems like with lawyers. So that's our A, and our B would be why we want to empower and close this gap. And the C will be kind of creating this disruptive empowerment program and connecting mentors, the ecosystem, founders that have failed, connecting with experts from academia and with the government where all these like community or immigrants are with nonprofits, and creating this disruptive empowerment program that would, get all these people out of this, necessity and thrive. So that's why our A, B, and C. Yeah.
Love that. First class. Thank you. Let's have a round of applause for that. And that would do so many good things as a program, aside from entrepreneurship as well. So thank you. Who will share next? Yeah, let's go to the back and then in the middle here. Thank you.
Okay, so for our A, we had prisoners. And the B would be ex-offenders who are running businesses. I'm trying to avoid the word entrepreneur too much. So people who are currently in prison who are some of the best entrepreneurs, but maybe have taken the wrong path, if you get what I'm meaning. Yeah? And ready for release, and then pairing those with people who have been released, who are running businesses and in control of their own lives. And that, I think, would be inspiring.
Yeah, really powerful. Thank you very much. Brilliant organization out of the United Kingdom, the Centre for Entrepreneurs, have produced a report on prison-related entrepreneurship in terms of the programs that work and what we can learn from them. So definitely commend that to you. Brilliant thinking. Thank you. I said we come into the middle, and I see those offers here. Is that all right, Jensen, if we come down here and then side to side? Okay, let's go. Thank you. ABC, let's hear it.
Hi, my name's Catherine. I'm from Arizona State University. And so my partner and I were talking about imagining a campaign where entrepreneurs and elementary students get to work together in a kind of bring your entrepreneur to school. So social entrepreneurs get to come in. Thank you. Social entrepreneurs get to come in and remember why they are working and inspire the new generation that, hey, that lemonade stand you're running, you can create something with that further down the line.
Love that. Thank you. Bring your entrepreneur to school. I like it. Thank you. Hands up in the room. Who has experience of getting entrepreneurs through the school gates and meeting with pupils? Hands up. Let's see what the collective intelligence is in the room. So lots of sharing on that. Thank you. Really powerful. Who next? Please raise your hand and we'll go. Yeah, let's go to that back table here and then we'll come down to you here. Yeah, I'm coming to you.
Hello, my name is Jérôme Doji from Togo and social entrepreneur. And my example is the plan A. The E is A is the community. In Togo, we have women who traditionally are together and put into $1, for example, to grant credit to everyone. But the thing is that every week, when they put the $1 together is $20, the first person get it, can start the business, and they have to wait, and the last person will get the credit in 20 weeks. Yeah, so it's like victimizing some people who will be the last person. So they were doing it because there is no possibility, no other way to get money. So now me as an organization, Copayment Group and social entrepreneur, I come to them and I say, your idea is very great, good, but now, me as a B, Ada, I say, I give you training, how to manage your money, the seed capital and everything, and I give the credit to all of you together in one time after training with 2 or 3 weeks, and then they receive credit. Everybody, the 20, become entrepreneur in the same week, and no one have to wait. So, becoming entrepreneur, doing the work, being happy, supporting their family immediately is the action C. Thank you.
I like that. And just a quick question. Have you got deep pockets? Have you got... This is a generous offer. Have you... No, serious question. Have you started to do this, or are you thinking this could be possible?
No, we are doing it already.
Amazing, amazing.
Already.
Thank you.
And
Well,
this is my distinguish from the government of Togo as
amazing.
I'm awarded of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're
indeed.
welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Now, I am coming back around here, but I have been overlooking a table over here. Please tell us your ABC.
For A, what we said was we talked about local governments, local ministries that would provide some kind of community problem that they had been facing, something that they had seen through data, through reports, and just kind of crowdsource out ideas, particularly focused on students, given that they have much more in terms of creativity and less limiting factors when it comes to thinking about feasibility or other factors. And so by crowdsourcing out these ideas from different students, whether that's college, university, high school, they'd be able to essentially do a pitch competition of sorts to select the best one and then provide a certain amount of fund for actually executing out the solution to that problem. And that could be some type of way to allow students to be a little bit more exposed to the factors that go into creating a business plan, executing something out, as well as working with their own government to solve problems that they see day to day.
Love that. Thank you. Hands up. Who has experience with a pitch competition for students? Any experience in the room? Would anyone share the biggest thing you learned from your pitch competition with students? Would anyone be prepared to share the thing they wish they'd known? Yeah, in the red jacket. Thank you very much, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Hi, Caitlin. I've worked with probably 500 plus student entrepreneurs. I think when it comes to pitch competitions, the funding is more of a sign of confidence in their idea rather than monetary value. So having that external validation and someone else believing in them is really what propels them to take those next steps or those next on-ramps in entrepreneurship.
Love that. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you. And if the offer still stands just in the middle here, and then I'll come across to you. Thank you, Vincent.
Hello, my name is Jamal. So our A was pretty much incubators and accelerators, and B is underserved communities. So I know everybody has had that stage of fear or obviously loneliness in their path of trying to start and crossing the barrier of entering entrepreneurship. And C was pretty much developing a fellowship and sharings of stories in the community and ecosystems for people to feel, you know, that they're not alone, that they have aid and assistance. With incubators and accelerators, our organization, Ironworks, is based in Gary, Indiana, and we bridge the gaps of knowledge and resources for people who want to enter entrepreneurship, knowing that, you know, there is a lack of, you know, just frontline here. You can come here get these resources to aid your idea or to help you increase the time frame of where you need to go and the milestones that you're trying to reach as far as entrepreneurship is involved. For example, we hosted our first annual summit in Northwest Indiana 2025, and keynote that we had was Jeff Hoffman, and he came to Gary, Indiana actually, and shared his stories and his realizations. And Dr. Jessica Houston was another, inspiring keynote that helped, aid the process on just showing people that, yeah, there is an ecosystem in Northwest Indiana, but Gary specifically, and you can get the resources that you need here.
Helpful,
So,
thank
yeah.
Can you just tell us as well, what's the secret, because conceptually the ABC is super clear,
Right.
What's something you've learned about how to reach the people that you think could most benefit from this newly accessible incubator?
Direct interaction. I feel like a lot of the youth and, well, just people in general, they overuse internet, social media too much. And I feel like there is a lack of actual, intimate connection, right? Whereas if me sharing my story with you or my personal journey, trials and tribulations can actually more so covet you in a way that's like, okay, I know I'm not the only one out here, but I see all of these things on social media, and there's a lot of ways that it's stressed to make money or get into entrepreneurship. But where do I start? What do I do? And it's grounding to have that intimate and in-person connection.
Totally agree. Super powerful. Thank you. I see you over the far side, but I promised I'd come down this neck of the woods. Thank you very much. Feel free to say who you are, where you're from. You don't have to.
Okay, what we're talking about it was that how to motivate entrepreneurs based on failure. So it's like sharing storytelling style about professionals, companies, and then give some 3 or 4 key learnings and then the tools in order to implement them in their entrepreneurships or in the companies. So here it works like the universities, professionals, chambers, like in commerce or industrial chambers, and the action is to motivate them based on failure and not just in success.
All right, and so in terms of designing, though, and for everyone on this, but firstly to you, sir, what is a secret to designing, and I'm going to forgive the euphemism, but I'm going to say like a failure-focused event, you know what I'm talking about there, but which has a net propensity to encourage entrepreneurship rather than dissuade. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dissuading, by the way, but given the title of the session, how do we tweak it in our favor in terms of designing it well?
The secret is in the style, based on the storytelling in a very sarcastic and ironic way. So entrepreneurship looks and said, okay, this company wasn't big forever. It started small, or they failure in this way, and now they're big.
But the bumps on the road.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a style.
Very powerful. Thank you. I did promise right on the far side, but I can see you in the middle as well. I'm not overlooking you. But if you go to the blue jacket and the nice, it's a lanyard actually, not turquoise shirt, and then into the middle. Yeah, and then in front of you after that.
Hi, my name is Constantine. With together Jim and Stephanie, we would like to present our concept. What is A is the young people, mainly teenagers, from the sectors, from the verticals. B is the companies and entrepreneurs, mainly the co-founders of the company. And the C, I will share the example from my country, Israel. We have the Walking Fridays, where group of the teenagers come to the company, the basically Israeli tech company, and meeting the founder, whether it can be PrimeSense, eToro, or VIX even, the big giant companies, meeting the 15 minutes with the founder, exploring the facilities, exploring the nice ice cream in the refrigerators or gym in the building, and telling them a story. So the KPI where the young generation is meeting these people, the co-founders, the billion dollar guys, get the inspiration of the entrepreneurship. While KPI for the companies, it may be, okay, potential users, exploring with the social media, TikTok, because of the teenagers usually use TikToks by this walking
and
days.
talent, employees, interns, and so
That
on.
I want them to be entrepreneurs, not the employees.
Well,
But-
I suppose sometimes one leads to the other, doesn't it? In terms of proximity to founder.
No, of course, yes. So the KPI for both sides are very defined, and we have these stories in our country, as I mentioned. Thank
Love
you.
that. Hands up, anyone in the room who has experience of an open house style program, getting people through the doors of these inspirational clubs? Really helpful, thank you. Right in the middle, thank you for your patience.
Hi, I'm Daniel from Colombia. I run with Katie the Rebel Business School in Latin America. And just 3 quick thoughts that have worked with us regarding some of the topics we have been covering. The first around failure. We think that it's not about success or failure, it's about the process and it's about execution. So I personally believe that nobody wakes up one day and says, today I'm going to fail, because that's not the point. But we encourage entrepreneurs to experiment, to do stuff, to execute. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if it's a failure, if it's a success. Also regarding competitions, and if you have a look at 80% of most entrepreneurship programs, they end up with a competition or with a Shark Tank style thing. We don't do that anymore because we have seen that it motivates the winners, but it always, it's very hard on the losers. And we don't want to promote that entrepreneurship is something that you win or you lose. Because like we said with Katie, we are making entrepreneurship accessible. If we make it a game of failure and success, well, it's not going to be that.
Yeah, love that, really powerful. Thank you very much, round of applause. I remember in the first company I started, we did used to judge a part of our success by the quality of our rejection emails and letters, because we said, you know, if we weren't getting big enough rejections, we probably weren't swinging hard enough, really. So sort of keep pushing and all that. Final thought, we just literally have 2 minutes left. I'm going to encourage us to spend 1 minute in reflection and this may be a first at GEC for this year, in complete silence. And the question I ask us to ask ourselves as we go into the silence is, what is our #1 reflection from this session that we can go away with on the theme of inspiring new entrepreneurs? So let's just reflect. No pairing, no quads, just us. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Can I say 2 very quick things to end? Firstly, can we have a huge thank you to everyone who's contributed, throwing your energy into this, but also to put your ideas out into the room and on the microphone. Thank you to everybody who shared. Tiny bit of housekeeping. We have a red and black bag, which is outside this workshop space, unattended. If you want to snatch it up and it's yours before it goes into Lost and Found, now's the time, and we'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Other than that, thank you for your energy. Thank you for your time. Have a fantastic GEC 2025, and we'll see you after lunch. Thank you.